So we've got Laura, what was it?
Samantha.
Kevin,
Yeah.
and
Andrew.
And I'm Mikey, and who have we got over here?
Oh, and Margot.
Margot. And come and sit down, come and get involved in this. We don't have a subject yet. Maybe it's about alcohol and getting spiked. Maybe, I don't know.
Alcohol reduction, drug reduction, how to take drugs safely. Please come and see our stall.
Yep. What's that?
Yeah, bit of that.
Yeah.
Bit of what?
Bit of this, bit of that. Okay. Okay, so we're talking about a bit of this, a bit of that. What is your bit of that? Maybe we can go around the table and find out. I'm going to throw something in. I've just had 2 coffees. I know it's a bit lame as a bit of this and a bit of that. But
Coffee.
what's that?
And you're off your nut off the coffee.
Yeah, I'm useless without coffee.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Get
So,
us a coffee.
but I mean, what is your bit of this and that? I mean, Laura, have you got? Is there
I like cheese.
cheese?
Yeah, all kinds of cheese.
Okay. Yeah.
We also like double yolkers.
Okay, right. Okay, I mean, if you like cheese, you're in the right place, I think, because there'll be a few gags coming here. I hope. Come and get involved in this. Who are you working for? Come and have a seat. We have got Laura, Samantha, Kevin. What's his name again? Tom. No. What's it?
Andrew.
Andrew and
Lisa.
Lisa and Mikey. Come and have a seat. At the moment, we're talking about your bit of this and that. I feel like we're starting off on the mild side. We've got cheese from Laura, got coffee from me.
Can we turn it up? We have cannabis here, around here, how to smoke safely and respect the THC. We have forward leads, we've got rehab workers, detox workers, we've got family plus, we've got the fit team, we've got the enhanced team. Please come and see us, we're very approachable, we won't buy, and you can even have some freebies.
Okay.
What are you doing here, more to the point?
I'm actually, my addiction is actually chat. So I've come to just to talk to people, really.
Well, we better not feed your addiction, then, innit?
it's true.
If you've got a problem, you need to just deal with it.
Well, I mean, let's talk to the addiction specialist. Is that the best way to deal with addiction? If I'm addicted to chat, it's the best thing to do just to cut that off, cut it dry, cold turkey?
Absolutely not, because you're at risk of withdrawing. So sometimes you just need to reduce slowly.
Okay. Okay, so reduce slowly, maybe talk more slowly.
Yeah, speaking about it, it's not an addiction.
Yeah.
I find if I speak about my problems and share my problems, then it helps, it takes the power out of things, so yeah.
Okay, so it's good to share it, so maybe talking is quite good. Come and have a seat. We've got, okay, you're in charge, you're Nina, we heard already, but just tell us your name, just so we can get a sound check for you.
Hello, my name's Nina.
And I'll give you a round of applause. Yeah, and what have we got over here?
Hiya, I'm Estelle.
Estelle, at the moment we're talking about addiction. What was it again?
Lisa.
Lisa, and we've got Margot over here. Margot, you've got coin, but you've just munched a bit of falafel. So I have to come back to you in a second. It gives me a chance to just recap where we are so far. We're talking about addictions. What is your this or that? For Laura, it's cheese. For me, it's chat and coffee. But should you just, Kevin suggested, you should just cut it off, cut it dry, stop talking. But Laura's like, that's not how you handle an addiction.
I used to smoke, and then one day I just decided I don't want to smoke anymore, and I just stopped cold turkey, and it was fine. Because I think what changed for me was like a mindset. But when my boyfriend was trying to give up smoking, said, "Oh, gonna get patches, gonna get this, that, you know, this," and I'm like, if you're gonna do it, just do it.
Okay, so you think just go cold turkey?
Yeah, just do it.
Just do it. Okay, we've got the experts on this side, but I've got to get this side involved. Have you any views, Nina?
So I am addicted to nicotine.
Yeah, you are addicted to nicotine.
I love my nicotine, I do. But I work specifically with heroin patients.
Right.
And in that situation where you just cut it off, it's quite unsafe actually. And with alcohol, you can't just cut it off because they can get seizures and things like that. So I think there could be safer ways to reduce the dependency.
Okay.
So a lot of it is like changing, like putting them on medication to support them.
Yeah. And I think Andrew came up with a good point as well. Was it you, Kevin? That was you, Kevin, that said also talking about stuff actually helps to. So we're in business here. Actually helps to kind of deal with it. We've got a new face, so let's get your name.
I'm Sue. I work for Forward Leeds.
We have got Lisa, let me refresh, what was it again?
Estelle.
Estelle, and we've got Nina, we've got Andrew, we've got Kevin, we've got Samantha and Laura, Margot and Mikey. At the moment we're sort of talking about what is your this and that.
I know, really good.
That's what I do, you know. Is it cheese? Is it chat? Is it heroin?
Cheesy chat.
Is it cheesy chat? Actually, I'm addicted to especially cheesy chat.
Double Yorkers.
What is a double Yorker?
An egg.
Really? Is
Yeah,
that a
it's
Yorkshire thing?
Yeah, it's in Whittaker's up there. But I really am.
£2 for 6 at Whittaker's, just down at the end.
All right, okay, so maybe we can get Whittaker's involved in this. We've lost Nina, but yeah, there's a point over here.
No, but it's a shame that Nina's gone, because I've got a question. Like, if you see somebody who is potentially, struggling with heroin addiction or alcohol addiction, like, how do you kind of break that chat? Like, how do you have a conversation? How do you start? Because I think people, from my experience, sometimes people don't want to talk about their problems. They just want to be like, hey, let's just talk about stupid, superficial stuff. But you kind of want to help. But like, how do you introduce the subject? How do you point people to the right direction?
How do you introduce the subject? How do you actually have the big conversation, Samantha?
Right, we have a Spock team that you can ring up independently. We can come out and assess you. We have an outreach team.
I think the question was, I'm just going to, I'm going to be tough with you here. What about if you've got a friend who you think they're a bit, it may be cigarettes, it might be something else, it might be, heroin you said, but I'm thinking of something maybe a little bit, less kind of, maybe like like cigarettes or something. Like maybe you think someone's smoking too many cigarettes or something like that.
Yeah.
How do you start that conversation, or is it up to the person really?
I think it's important not to pussyfoot around it.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, be quite direct. Obviously we're not here to bite your head off. We take it in your time. And how you want to move forward in your harm reduction with either cigarettes, opiates, heroin, crack cocaine, alcohol, anything, reducing it, not feel embarrassed.
Just go.
You don't have to be face to face, you can be face to face, we can come and see you at home, anything like that, just give us a call.
I was just going to say also, so I work with Palm Cove.
Hang on a second, Andrew, we want a final thought from you before you go.
So I work for Palm Cove, so we're a support organisation as well. So we're very big on person-centred approaches as well. So we kind of allow space for rapport building, getting to know a person first before we kind of want to kind of not push our agenda on people as well. It's also about remembering when people are ready themselves to talk about that sort of thing. Some people know as well that these things take time. It's not hurrying them into it and kind of allowing them to take the baby steps, and then we work with them to do that as well.
Okay, that's good. So just let it flow. Andrew, final thought?
I think if you're going to talk to people, you've got to be willing to listen. If you're not going to listen properly, then there's no point having that conversation with them in the first place, because you've got to be able to understand what they're on about.
I mean, do you think
some people just talk to be heard, but it's like a two-way thing.
And I mean, what things don't get heard, are not picked up when people are not really listening?
See, if you're talking to someone who hasn't been through that same kind of history with the drugs or whatever, then they won't understand.
Yeah. So in a way,
so it's better to talk to another addict about it rather than to someone who's just doing it as a job.
Okay.
A lot of our employers are ex-addicts, so we do understand, with alcohol, coke, crack cocaine, opiates, pre-gabblings, anything like that, and we are here to help, and we do understand.
I mean, I'd like to ask the question, what is a good listener? How do you become a good listener? How do you actually listen to stuff? Come and get involved in this, come and listen, and then maybe you can say something, take a photo as well. We can Instagram us, _people speak. This is Talkaoke. We have got Laura, we've got Samantha, we've got Kevin, we have got Estelle, we have got Lisa and Sue, and Mikey, what's your name?
And Craig.
Craig, welcome. At the moment we're talking about listening. What makes a good listener? We talked a bit about addictions. Active listening, what does it... Are you off as well?
Final thought, don't be shy guys, come to our stall at Forward Leeds, there's everything there for you, lots of advice.
Some of these fluorescent things.
The fluorescent things stop people getting spiked, put them in your bottle, put the straw in there, stop you getting spiked. Did you want one?
Yeah, I'll have one, yeah.
Have one.
I don't think I've ever been spiked. I might have been spiked actually.
Yeah.
Hang on, Craig, you got something to say?
Oh, I just said it's Mikey spiking.
Yeah, Mikey Spiky, yeah. But,
Thank you.
yeah, final
Final thought, just have any stigma around drugs or alcohol, come and see us, we're very open.
Okay, so we want to destroy the stigma, but is it that easy? Come and get involved in this. This is Pop-Up Talk Show. You can talk about anything. We don't have to talk about, we don't have to go too heavy on this. It's kind of up to you. We can if we want to. So it's kind of up to you where you want to take this. Do you want to talk about how to be a good listener? Do you want to talk about how to talk to people that, how to confront people if you think they've got a problem?
I mean, I'm just interested in this kind of, because obviously girls were saying about, if, let's say, if I personally had a problem, I could go directly to them. But I wonder what about these people who need few more kind of baby steps before they even realize they've got an issue. Because like as a friend, sometimes you kind of, you see it for them, but you don't want to be too direct and be like, listen, I think you've got addiction problem of alcohol or whatever. Because if you say that to them, they may be like, oh, what are you talking about? Like, you're so stupid, you don't understand, like, this is not addiction. So I wonder kind of whether there's anything that kind of friend person caught in between can do. Maybe not, maybe they should say like, listen, here's a number, just phone it when you're ready.
I was just going to say, I think you need to just take those baby steps. It's like Nina said, you need to build that relationship. If you're a friend, you've already got it, and you don't want to break that friendship, so you take baby steps. But if you find out the information, then you can drip feed it to them. And I was just going to say about the active listening. I think what we do well at Forward Leeds is it's not just about staff and staff having lived experience. We listen to the voice of lived experience. So we've got service user groups, we listen to them, we ask them what we can do better, what we're doing, what's going well, what do we do that's good for you, but what do we do that's bad. And
I know this is a bit of a putting you on the spot, but can you give us an example of where you've kind of found out something that you didn't expect, or some kind of insight you've got from that, from listening to people, rather than just going with a kind of standard protocol?
Yeah, think of a recent one. So I guess just the office down the road at Kirkgate, it was very, very clinical going into it, and people said, no, this isn't, no, we don't, it's not inviting.
Yeah, it's like going into a doctor's surgery.
Yeah, so now it's got plants, it's got magazines, we kind of listen to that, but we also listen on the treatment journey, and all of that kind of peer support stuff's come from listening to people.
All right, well that's a really good point. We've got a new face over here. Estelle?
I think just a final thoughts on what you were saying. I think the two main things for me is creating a safe space and availability, because especially with lots of services as well now, there's so long waiting lists as well. So it's about making sure that your friend or whoever it is knows that you're always available to speak should they need it, and then making them feel comfortable as well. Judgment-free space.
Just stay approachable. Stay approachable. Okay, your new face. What's your name?
Well, my name is Talkaoke.
What's it?
Talkaoke. Talkaoke,
yeah. We have got Margot, we've got Sue, we've got Lisa, we've got Craig, we've got Kevin and Mikey. And when we're talking about, there's a couple of things on the table. It's about how do you actually listen to people in a good way. Sue mentioned the word active listener. How do you actually do that? Creating a safe space you're talking about as well. We started off talking about addictions. What do you do if you've got a friend who's addicted to something? But we can go in any direction you want. This is Talkaoke. We've only just started Pop-Up Talk Show.
I just want to ask a quick question to people from Yorkshire. What is this double Yorkie? What actually is this? I didn't get what it was.
What's that to do with
some
the
kind
egg?
of egg thing?
It's when it's got two yolks in. It's got two.
Double yoker.
Oh, yolk. I think it's like
double. You see, I don't think we picked up on the accent.
It's double yolk. Like
so for me, what addiction is about, the definition of addiction is something do you like or something you love.
Yeah.
Addiction is a different. Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
So you're in a way, it's about being attracted to something.
To something. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So if it's in my ethnic language, let's say lu ëpp tuuru.
Yeah.
Okay, that's in lu ëpp tuuru.
The ëpp tuuru.
So if you're feeling that cup, when it's over, it's gonna spill out.
Yeah. So it's like the cup is
so it's a balance.
Yeah.
So addiction.
What language is that?
That's Wolof.
Wolof.
Wolof, yeah.
Okay.
In French, they say si l'eau déborde de la vase, ça va se déborder. ça déborde, c'est ça là, tu vois. Donc en fait, il faut avoir la balance, en fait, des choses. Balance, so you have to balance things. That's what's up.
Okay, well, it's good to get this, insight from other cultures as well. Like, is it like just the cup is too full? We lose the balance. That's what we're talking about here.
The balance goes when the thing that you're, whether it's a substance, whether it's an activity, when it starts to control you instead of you controlling it, and that's what we need to get back to being in control. Whoa. And I was just going to add to you about talking to a friend. Quite often if someone's got an addiction, they've probably got other issues as well, so it's not just looking at you've got to look at the whole person and ask them what it is they want to sort out first.
So actually the addiction is actually could be part of something else, some other problems going on that you need to talk about. So that's interesting.
So who want to help to somebody who have addiction? For me, in my own perspectives, is somebody who listen to that person, try to mirror himself onto that person, even if it's not him, but mirror yourself to him, so make him look like you, so you make him comfortable, and then so you can vehicle just to transfer what you tried to. And then so you can get him out from there. For example, you are deep down in the well, so I just want to dive deep, and I'm diving deep. I pick you up, and I swim up, and I come back on the surface with you.
We've got another potential interested person. This is Talkaoke Pop-Up Talk Show. At the moment we're talking about listening. How do you listen to people? What do you do if your friends have got problems? It might be addictions, it might be a whole nest of different problems. And is listening all about mirroring that person and being a vehicle for their thoughts and for their emotions? What's your name again?
Dawudaka.
Dawudaka says that's how you actually deal with people's problems. But I mean it's good to. I think it's really excellent to get lots of different opinions. Come and get involved in this. At the moment we're talking about friendship. We're talking about active listening. We've got Lisa, we've got Sue, we've got Margot, we've got Dawudaka, we've got Kevin and Mikey. What's your name?
Billy.
Come and have a seat. Come and get involved in this.
Stay for long.
That's okay. Just leave. Leave whenever you get bored or whenever you need to go. Okay.
I completely agree about the empathy. You do need to have empathy, but you also need to have a bit of tough love.
Yeah.
So you've got to be there for the person, and that lived experience helps with that.
Okay, so it's about a balance between being empathic and being tough.
Yeah, just what the woman was saying there about lived experience, I was in addiction for how many years? From the age of 11, I'm now 43.
Right.
And I was in addiction and I couldn't break out that cycle.
That's 32
and just by reaching out and asking for the help. It really has changed my life,
I mean, what was the breakthrough for you?
I was sick of the consequences behind me using and things like that, and it really has changed my life. I'm in a rehabilitation centre at the minute, and I volunteer twice a week. I help other people. I do work in prisons, things like that, and it's about understanding and having the patience and tolerance to actively listen, because if I find that I'm not listening, then I'm closed-minded, and I'm not going to lie, sometimes I can go into that mode, but it's for me. It's about trying to be open-minded on a daily basis.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a really interesting point, is what makes you open up and what actually makes you, because it's one person. We say people are closed-minded, they're open-minded, but one person can be open-minded on one day and closed-minded on another day, and I think it's a really interesting point. What allows you to be more open-minded, to be more tolerant, more patient with other people? Final thoughts from you, Dawudaka?
Fantastic. I remember I lost my, I'm grateful. I'm sad and grateful about it. He passed away when I was 13 years old.
Right.
He was a big man. And one of the most important thing I remember that he said to me, he said the most important thing into your life, he said, is to be a good man.
Yeah. Okay, that's a fantastic final thought. Thank you very much. Better give you a round of applause for that. So it's up to you where you want to take this. Do we want to talk about being open-minded, closed-minded? Do we want to talk about...
I just wanted to say, being open-minded, I guess you need to think about your own thoughts and feelings and how your experiences have influenced your own feelings in that moment, and making sure that you're checking the person's that you're understanding them, that you're not really being influenced by what's happened to you too much. Yeah. But you use it, you be aware of how much you're using it and how much that is influencing the conversation.
So once again, it's about that kind of balance, isn't it, between your experience and understanding that someone else's experience is going to be different.
But I think this question of reaching out for help or listening and talking. Yeah.
Is that being recorded?
Yes, we're going to record it. Yes.
So
on this, there we go. There's a website. It's going to go on. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, go.
I think, for instance, I'm from Poland, and in Poland, if you are a guy and you admit to addiction or something, then you're a write-off. It can be really, really harsh like that. I've got family members. Yeah, people judge you right away. Yeah. And I think here is a bit more open-minded. Yeah. But I think in Poland, I don't know what it is about that country, but it's like, oh, you're just a mess. You're just not a good person.
People will write you off, basically.
Yeah. Like, for instance, where my mum lives, there's a woman who's I think she's an alcoholic, but she's also a janitor. And my mum always says she never does her job. Blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, well, maybe she's going through something. She's like, oh yeah, but she's not even old and she's not doing any job, and and she smells of alcohol, whatever. So, and that's what people kind of carry with them. So it's awful.
So she's judged a lot. She smells. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, as well.
I think it's okay to judge if you're judging what support somebody needs. So I would say it's okay to judge, but it's not okay to be judgmental.
Okay, so judging and being judgmental. Come and get involved in this. You can have your coffee on the... Maybe not. So, Billy, have you got any views on any of this?
Well, it depends on what context and concept of open mind, because I just got here. Yeah. So I don't know. Open mind can be of different contexts. Yeah. So I don't know the context of open mind. If you go into the extreme of open mind, it's difficult. Yeah. Because the mind, first of all, you have to understand the mind. Yeah. The mind can absorb a lot of garbage, and it can give people different concept about life. So we can, all 5 of us, 6 of us can be here right now, and yet we can still have different concept about things that we're supposed to be open-minded about.
Okay, so sometimes, that's a good point from Billy, sometimes the mind can pick up a lot of garbage. It's a bit like, when you're picking up the fluff off of the carpet or something like that, you can just, if you're open-minded, actually you pick up some strange ideas.
We are open-minded person. Yeah. We that's what we are. We are minds. Yeah. Dwell into a physical body. Yeah. That's all it is. We are minds. We're all mind. Dwell into a physical body. This body is basically like an avatar. Yeah. And your mind, that's what functions. It's here right now. You're here right now. Maybe I'm talking, but like for instance, I'm talking, but those people mind are not here. Yeah. Yeah. They're elsewhere. So they're not listening. So that's the next thing about. They're just spoken about open-minded, but they're still not open-minded to what I'm saying, because they're having a different discussion. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying about open-mind. You have to know the first significance of what mind is.
Yeah. Okay. Do we know our minds?
Yeah, just about open-mindedness. What helps for me is when I live in the present. Yeah. If I'm not living in the present and concentrating on the moment, then I'm not open-minded really. So that's the key for me.
Can you give us an example of how you ground yourself in the present? Come and get involved in this as someone.
I want to add something to that. Who told you you were a human being? Yeah. I'm just asking that. Who told you you're a human being? You learn to be a human being. So even though he's saying he's living in the present, the past is what makes your future. Yeah. And what you've taught, that's what makes you who you are. That doesn't mean what you're taught is being accurate. The curriculum, that doesn't mean it's accurate. Your doctrination from different religion, that means it's accurate. So, as I said, the mind is what you filtered. Everything starts from home, everything starts from school. But it's what you have soaked up and what you believed in, that's what make your mind today.
So in a way you're saying you can live in the present, but you've got your whole past behind you that forms you. Come get involved in this. This is Talkaoke. Okay.
You can learn from your past, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Give us a final thought.
You can use your past as an asset to remind you not to go back to where you've been, because that's for me personally, where I've been, and I use that as my asset.
So in a way that past is important to sort of like judge things against.
You know, my final thought on open mind, and this sound a way different. You know, the fact about it is, a lot of people, especially in the UK, haven't been taught their true history. They haven't been taught their true history, and that leave a lot of people mind clustered with negativity because they're not been taught the right thing and the accurate knowledge, and that leave people mind clustered.
So you think actually history actually interferes and confuses people because it's in the wrong way?
Exactly.
Okay, that's a really interesting point. Not just our own experience, but the history.
Of course, what you've been taught.
Yeah, that before we're even born. So that's a really good point.
Yeah. When you're born, right, you're totally empty. You don't know who you are. You don't have no awareness of who you are. You're totally unaware of who you are until you've been told that this is pink. Until you're told that this is a microphone. Then you believe that it's a microphone, but it's not. This color doesn't mean that it's pink, but you've been told it's pink. That's what I'm saying to you. That's all I got to say for you, my friend. And that's my final thought.
Really good point. Thank you, Billy. And we're here all afternoon, so come back if you want to. And yeah, thanks for your input.
No, I don't really do these things, you know.
No? Yeah, well, now's the time. Anyway, we're going to keep the conversation going. Maybe this lady would like to come and join in. This is Talkaoke, still eating there. But where are we going to go with this? I guess we need to get that conversation. Are we getting too philosophical? Is it maybe driving people away with this? All these questions about who are we? We're talking about at the moment.
I mean, I do like a philosophical discussion because I think we don't talk about these things often enough. But like, for instance, I sometimes feel like history, if you know your history too much, then that can make you really upset, and it can weigh you down, and you won't move forward because you'll be like, oh yeah, but this country did this to me, like to my ancestors or whatever, and forever you're like apologizing or you're fighting for your ancestors. That's really tiring, and you're not really advancing.
Okay, so can history actually... It's the same. Billy's not here anymore.
Yeah, I wanted to respond.
Because that's a good point. Can knowing your history... well, give us a final thought. Thank you so much, Sue, for your input. It's been really good.
My final thought is, don't give up on people.
Yeah.
There's assets in everybody, and everybody's worth an investment.
I mean, we definitely see that on Talkaoke because we know that everyone's got something to offer to the discussion, and everyone's got something to put something in, and you know that just comes across. So in a way, we're privileged to see that. Well done to Kevin.
Yeah, thank you, I will. Yeah, it's been nice to have a conversation with you, and I'm going to go now. But yeah, thank you very much. Bye.
Give us a final thought, and then I'm going to have a quick lunch of the platform, and then we'll start up again.
My final thought is, for me personally, what I went through, what I've experienced in my recovery, what I learned in my recovery, I try and pass that message on to other people, and to try and help other people find a successful way out of active addiction, because I was in active addiction for a long time. So my message is to try and help others and pass that message on.
So, I mean, just one last thing, Kevin. If you saw, because this is how we started off this conversation, if you saw someone that was struggling and you knew they were kind of trapped in some kind of addiction, with all your experience, what approach would you take to try and help them?
Well, first and foremost, I would approach them and have a conversation with them. I'd share a bit of my experience, strength and hope with them. Then ask them if they're wanting help. Ask them, point them in the right direction for the help. And then it's up to them. No, I don't want help. Well, that's their choice at the end of the day. Some people don't want help, but I think you've got to want it. I think you've got to want help. And you can't push anything on anyone. It's got to be their personal choice.
So actually, that thing, people have got to seek it out, really. Well, thanks so much, Kevin, and that's great for sharing your experience.
All right.
It's really great to have you here. We're here all afternoon, so Do come back if you want to, and yeah, we need some more. We need some more punters around the table, or is it time for a falafel break?
Yeah, have a falafel break.
We will be back shortly. We're just about to start this up, so come and have a seat. You can put your pie down on the table. It's no problem. Yeah, you're welcome as well. Give you a round of applause. You don't have to say anything. Come join in. Come on. We're not often here in Leeds, so come on. Today's the day. We have got. My name's Mikey. We've what's your name?
Paul.
I'm Margot.
Come sit down. Come on. It's electrically safe. It's all fine. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Help us get this going. Come on, all of you. Lead by example. All of you sit down. So we got Paul. We got Margot. Come on, join in. 2 minutes. Come on. We got Paul. We got Margot. We've got
Cara.
Shiv. Will. Justin.
What was your name again?
Shiv.
Shiv.
SHIV. Shiv.
Shiv. Not shave. Shiv. Okay. And we've got over here.
Nargis. Lydia.
Okay, so this is Talkaoke Pop-Up Talk Show. We've only just started, so the whole point of this show is up to you to decide what you want to talk about. Has anyone got any thoughts, comments, suggestions, ideas, interjections? What do you want to talk about? Anyone got anything?
You've got I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Okay, maybe this man over here. Have you got something for us to talk about? No? Paul?
I don't know. I want to listen.
No.
Anything at all? Okay, well we need something, otherwise it's going to be... Yeah?
I just want to shout out a man who gave me this popcorn, because I never get given popcorn. I never get given anything by strangers. You know how they say like stranger danger, but actually this popcorn is completely legit and very nice. So I'd like to shout out to the people of Leeds for being friendly and sharing.
Yeah. So a very generous city we're in right now. Would you accept popcorn from a stranger?
Yeah.
So we're talking about, you mentioned stranger danger.
Yep.
Are we too wary of strangers? I mean, in my field, you know, I'm trying to get strangers to actually talk to each other. So this whole stranger danger thing is a little bit of a sort of, yeah, well, it's a bit of a barrier, really. Do we talk enough to strangers?
No, not that much.
And why is that? Is it the stranger danger?
Yeah, it's a stranger danger.
Yeah. Okay. Is it right to be suspicious of strangers? Are we too suspicious? What do you think on this side?
Never too suspicious.
Yeah, go on, Will.
Never too suspicious.
No. Okay. So you're not. I mean, any thoughts? What do you think?
No, I think we could be more. We could speak to people more and find a bit more about before, like, obviously we judge them before we see them.
Yeah. Okay, what's interesting is we were talking about that earlier on. We were talking about judging people. Are we judging people too much? Is it about the judgment? What kind of judgments do we make? What kind? I mean, I'm going to offer myself. What kind of judgments do you make about me?
Seem like a good guy.
Good guy, yeah.
Yeah, good. Okay, is it because I'm sitting in the pink table? Is it the pink? Judgments? Are we too quick to judge?
We're too quick to judge sometimes.
Yeah.
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 I mean, how do you hold back? Can you give us an example of judging someone? Paul, final thought before you go.
I'm going to be late for my dinner and I've only got 20 minutes left.
I just want to ask you, you're wearing this high-vis jacket. Does that make people judge you in a certain way when you're wearing this orange high-vis jacket?
I won't know. You'd have to ask one of these what they think of me.
All right, well then you have to stay for one more second. What do you think about high-vis? What does it say to you, the orange high-vis?
Hard-working man.
Hard-working.
Yeah.
Right.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we'll leave you to go and work hard. So, yeah.
I once heard this, it was like a photography project. Somebody went around like photographing people who were in high vises, like doing stuff. They were like, repairing train tracks and stuff. And then they started dressing up in high vis as well. And they got away with some incredible stuff.
So, if you wear high vis, you can actually get away with stuff. That's interesting. So high vis equals official. We've got a high vis shop over there, actually, I noticed. So maybe we should all get into high vis and then, yeah, exactly. Let's go and get high vised up, and then we can see what. I mean, in a way, I guess the following question is like, if you were wearing high vis and being highly visible, stroke invisible, what would you do? What would you? It's almost like an invisibility cloak, isn't it? But the opposite.
But you know, we were talking about addiction in the previous session. Sorry, I'm just going to hold on this. I wonder whether people, whether 6 years, but I wonder whether people are addicted to high visibility. Are we just addicted to like being like out there and being popular and, you know, people following us? That's what I wonder, because somebody told us recently we don't have enough followers. So I don't know.
We're at crossroads now. Do we want to talk about high visibility in terms of fluorescent clothing? Do we want to talk about visibility on social media? Where do you want to go with this conversation? It's up to you. What's that?
Go on, Chief.
Anywhere.
Okay. And what about on this side? Social media or high vis clothing?
On the road.
What's that?
Social media.
Social media. What do you want to say about social media?
It's a very toxic place sometimes. Very. It shows.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's all I've got to say.
Okay, it's a toxic place. That's this button as well.
But how is it toxic? I'm interested, just because somebody recently, I thought that TikTok is just like, literally give me a break, I don't want to do TikTok.
Yeah.
But somebody said, oh, TikTok is going to be like a new Wikipedia, like a new kind of search engine, so you should get on TikTok. Yeah, is it toxic?
Is TikTok toxic? And is that...
It depends, because sometimes they use it as a way of bullying people and stuff, and like taking advantage of it.
Okay, so even TikTok is used as bullying. We've got a new face. What's your name?
Raj.
Raj.
Yeah.
We have got, I know Shiv. And Karen and what's it?
Will.
I've really just messed up here. I'm Marco, I know you. I'm Mikey, and what was it again?
Nargis. Nargis.
Nargis?
Yeah, Lydia.
Lydia, of course it is, yes. And Justin, I remember Justin for some reason. But where we're talking about social media, is it a toxic environment? You don't think it is?
No, I've learnt stuff off there, like stuff that I'm interested in, but I didn't know a lot about. I've learnt quite a lot about it actually, and found out stuff. And yeah, there might be toxic things, but there's ways around it, isn't there? Like,
Is it up to your mindset in a way?
yeah, if I see stuff, I'm not gonna be toxic with them. I might step back and let them carry on, but I'm not helping them in a way, if you get what I mean. I know what's right.
What is the kind? Can you give us a fact or something you've learned on social media that you didn't know before? Something you've got from it?
It's a fact. It's not really a fact, but it's about making friends. That like I've learned that I've made friends and they've moved away and stuff. It's allowing me to speak to them and stuff. And
so you stay connected to friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's bring in
Yeah. For TikTok, like
any sort of social media.
So during the pandemic, when we were all at home, you know, like they gave us like solutions how to, you know, keep yourself fit, like Joe Wicks all over social media, which I was inspired. So like at the start, I wasn't feeling too comfortable with exercising and stuff. When each day passed on, you know, more and more, I became a bit more confident with it. Yeah.
Social media. Joe Wicks. Does everyone know who Joe Wicks is? Yeah. I haven't forgotten. It's kind of died away a little bit now.
For ages I thought Joe Wicks has got something to do with the shop Wicks, but I realised that maybe not.
It's got to do with DIY.
Yeah, it's like what everybody's getting hooked on DIY, but I think exercise is an interesting one. I recently got my boyfriend to use the stairs as opposed to the lift, because he was just like, oh, it's the third floor, can't be bothered. I'm like, literally, get on those steps.
Okay. I mean, did you get that from social media?
You know what? I didn't exactly get it from social media, but because I see it a lot, it's just like that's something that people do. It's just like normalized this thing, but also made me realize that taking a lift is just something that people do as well. But you can change that. But I felt more empowered to challenge the lift taker, basically.
Social media helped you to challenge the lift taker. I mean, also, come and have a seat. Come and get involved in this. This is Talkaoke. We're nearly. But anyway, I think as well, so I saw myself dancing at a party on the weekend, and I thought, who's that fat guy dancing? And then that has encouraged me to lose weight, so it does work as well. Karen, give us a final thought before you go.
Right. My name's Cara. Everyone have a good day. Everyone enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Peace out.
Okay.
Right, thank you everyone. Thank you for listening.
I've not got much to say. Hello, hiya.
Social media is going straight on.
Thank you, and thanks to all my friends, thanks to everyone. I love everyone. Thank you, bye.
Thank you guys for listening and stay positive.
Stay positive, well, you're definitely a very positive bunch.
Yeah, thank you all. We're wrapping the mandem, as always.
Okay, well, maybe that's something we can talk about a bit more, the mandem. Come and have a seat, come and get involved in this. This is Talkaoke Pop-Up Talk Show. Yeah, well, you're welcome to come, everyone's welcome to come and have a seat. We have got Narjas, we've got Lydia, we have got Margot, what's your name?
I'm Adam.
Come and have a seat, come and get involved in this. We're talking about social media. Is social media toxic? Can you learn from things like TikTok?
No.
Oh, hang on, give us a final thought before you go.
Enjoy life, people, and have fun, because it never lasts.
It never lasts. Why does it last?
Yeah, you're gonna be like the Queen.
It's because the world is temporary.
Okay, so everything is temporary. That's a very philosophical point as well. So, final thought, Lydia?
Yeah, in a bit mush.
I'm not really sure what that means, but yeah.
What I say? What I say?
Well, we're talking at the moment. There's a few things on the table. We're talking about social media. Is it toxic? There's a lot of positivity. Come and get involved in this. Come and have a seat. This is Talkaoke Pop-Up Talk Show, where you just talk about anything. At the moment, we've been talking a bit about TikTok. We've been talking about. We're nothing to do with the fabric shop. My name's Mikey. We've got Margot. We've got Adam. A little bit. Come and sit down. Just check it out. See how it can. What's your name?
What time? Danica. Danica.
Danica. Okay. Okay. Well, we're back to just you, Margot. What's that?
I go on bus rides all the time. I travel on buses. I take the photo of the buses. I know what time they're all due and all that. I mean.
What do you think of the buses?
Well, the buses, they're never in time because I wait for the bus and it never turns up.
Yeah.
There are no drivers also.
Yeah.
And I go anywhere like in Leeds and the bus never turns up. They're never in time.
Okay, so there's a bit of a problem with the buses turning up on time. We were here a little bit late. It was not our fault. It was the train was late.
I've got a question. If you know a lot of buses, is it true? You know how they say the things are like buses. Sometimes nothing turns up, and sometimes 3 turn up all at once. Has that ever happened to you? Because I wonder whether that's actually it's a real thing. Yeah, is it?
Real phenomenon. Is the 3 buses turning up? We need your help here. Is the 3 buses turning up in one go? Is that a phenomenon? Is that a real phenomenon, or is it just something that people say? Adam.
So I go to work, right, and I get a 4 to work, and then bus never turns up because I travel to Leeds to work, and it's a nightmare. Yeah. And I travel to Leeds to work in the market. Yeah. So bus cancelled. I'm stuck. I mean, and I try to get buses, but they never came. But on my phone.
My question to you, Adam, though, is when a bus does eventually come, is there like 2 or 3 at the same time?
Yeah. So I want to say after that. What I say? What I say after that?
What's that?
I need to say. What am I say now?
We're talking about buses and then never turning up. Yeah. So let me come.
I was just talking to this lady. I was trying to get her on a table, but she said she came with her friends to Leeds from Hull. So I wonder what's so horrible about Hull that people want to come to Leeds. What's so great about Leeds? Just wondering what is the story of this market? Has it always been this busy and popular? I've never been here before. I'm pretty intrigued. Do you know anything about this market?
I know everything about this market.
So you're the right person at the right time. I'm Margot. What's your name?
No, I'm joking. My name's Nick.
Nick,
what are we doing?
What's your connection to this market? Are you shopping today? What are you doing?
The piano. I play the piano.
Oh, that was you?
Yeah.
Okay, how did it go?
Good. You're not allowed to busk, so let's just keep this quiet, but I made £1.50.
Oh, well done. What are you going to spend it on? Are you going to invest it? Good. All right. Well,
I'm going to invest it in my ever-growing stomach.
talking about exercise earlier, yeah, but also going on the chat diet because Mikey talks too much. He's just a bit.
It's good for burning calories.
Yeah. Is it?
Well, yeah, I'd be slim though if that was true.
I wish that was true.
In the jazz, man.
Are you a jazz person? Are you? Hello. This is a talk show. Do you like jazz?
So let's just get some. Not done this properly because I'm supposed to do all this introduction bit. So what is it? Adam.
Nick.
Nick.
I've got a social media channel called Adventures of Nick where I talk about mental health.
Okay. Fantastic. We were actually talking a little bit about not necessarily mental health, but kind of emotional health and well-being earlier on. But the whole point of Talkaoke is up to you to decide what you want to talk about. And as it's just you, Nick and Margot, it's kind of down to you.
We interview Margot.
Yeah, if you want to, yeah.
Practice mic. Have we got another mic? No.
I've got a mic.
All right.
This is Mikey, and he's got a mic.
We've only got one camera.
Mike's got a mic.
Yeah.
Well, we'll keep it here and we'll like talk sideways to each other.
That's right. That's right.
So where are you from? Margot or Margaret?
No, it's Margot.
Margot.
So now I have to take my.
Yeah. That's just
Well, this morning we came from London. Royal we, me. I came from London. Are you going to London later?
Yeah, I'm off to London later. The big old town, the big smoke.
What are you doing in London?
Do you live in London?
No, I'm from London.
Oh my God, which part of London? Just be careful what you answer. Yeah?
Highbury, North London.
I thought you were going to say Hackney. That would have been okay. Highbury.
Stay in Hackney.
Okay, where? I mean, you don't have to tell me. But did you know? Okay, did you know that Tesco started in Hackney?
Tesco's started in Hackney. Yep. Boys and girls, did you hear that? Tesco's started in Hackney.
Yeah.
Marks and Spencer's started here in this market. So we're going we're coming from Tesco'sville to Marks and Spencer'sville, effectively.
We're going live.
What's the deal with? Are you a radio presenter sometimes, or are you just here? What's the deal?
Very occasionally, but I'm just more of a kind of talk show host. I'm just hosting a. This is nothing to do with us. Someone dropped this on the table. I'm not a cannabis eater myself. I have to say that.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. Why is it not allowed to busk in the market? What's the problem? Do people hate music? Do people kick off? What's happening?
Yeah, I mean, basically, yeah. Right, so I think you're probably not allowed to busk because it's private property, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't need a license to busk in Leeds City Centre, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Big up the council for that. Boo, 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 boo. Perfect. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to join in the chat, we've got how many seats around this table?
Enough.
12. It's the round table. It's the Knights of the Round Table.
Yeah.
Come join in, give us your perspective on life.
Come and have a seat.
My man. Come and have
a chat. This is Talkaoke. We've got Nick, we've got Margot and Mikey. What's your name?
I'm shy.
Is that your name or is that just...
My name, I'm shy.
Oh, okay.
Anthony. Yes.
Okay, come and have a seat for 2 minutes. We're talking about a few things. We're talking about Leeds. We're talking about busking. Should people be allowed to play music in the market? They can. You are playing the piano. Maybe we can get an opinion from this security man as well. Would you stop someone from playing music if I was to hit the jazz button? Would that be considered an offence? But come and have a seat. Come and get involved because you've been standing. We want to involve you in this conversation. We've got Nick, we've got Margot, we've got Anthony and Mikey. What's your name?
Daniel.
What's it?
Daniel.
Daniel.
Yes.
At the moment we're talking about music. Should there be a bit more music?
Yeah.
So I got a question.
Yeah.
Don't run away. He's running away. Get him. Get the security guard.
Well, hang on a sec, because the whole point of Talkaoke is a voluntary thing. You don't have to answer anything. You don't have to stay at the table. It's more of a law of attraction, really. And what do people think about? Let's ask this man. What do you think about music in the market? Should there be more music here?
Margot.
I think yes, there should be some more music, but maybe not all of the time, because sometimes people just want to be in. Yeah, there should be a slot. Yeah. But also, I think what I really loved about you, Anthony, as you were walking past, is like I love your colours. Yeah. I absolutely love your colours. I don't wear
Well,
many
it's not a
colours.
fashion
Nick,
choice.
no, it's, no.
Is it a fashion choice?
I don't know if he wears that on a weekend.
Do you wear
Bust out the high
Let's find
vis.
out. Let's find out.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to say my sexual preferences, but I don't wear these on a weekend. I wear this for training.
Right.
I don't normally look this bright.
Right. Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now my shy side is coming back. I'm only joking. I'm only joking.
Okay. Right. So you're wearing it for training.
Yes.
And what are you training as?
I'm
Or are
going
you
to try
training
and
other people.
No, who no? I'm training to work
Yeah.
for the railway company.
Oh, right.
That very well placed and well organised train company.
Yeah.
I'm training for them.
Okay.
I will pass over the mic.
Okay, that's interesting. Well,
A little round, right, let's do a round robin, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm going to kick things off with a question.
Yeah. Go on then.
Right.
Yeah. Sounds like it. Yeah.
Taking over, man.
Yeah. Well, we'll give it a chance. You know.
I don't mind jumping anywhere. I sing and dance my way through life. Literally, yeah. I did some stand-up comedy yesterday.
Yeah.
For the first time ever, and I made £4 in 20 minutes. Got some cheesy chips and £1.50. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I made £1.50 on the piano today. I'll have my own piano in town soon. I'll be busking.
Yeah.
But no, what I'm thinking is we each ask a question.
Yeah.
And then we answer. I'll ask a question first.
Go on, ask the question. Come on.
Here's the big question.
Yeah.
So I've got a hidden disability.
Mm.
I'm going to ask you what you think it is. You can ask me 5 questions.
Okay, but I can see this going.
I can see this going a bit wrong though, because what about if somebody says something? You know, would you be offended if any sort of disability? You wouldn't be offended because I think you have to kind of almost sign.
Questions you can have.
Okay, hidden disability. It's a good. Come on, you look interested in this as well. I'll keep an eye on it.
Shout loudly.
No, just grab the mic. Grab the mic.
Okay, so 5 questions
Grab the mic. Grab the mic.
to establish what it is. And am I able to?
Yeah, tell us your name first of all.
Dual diagnosis.
Okay, so there's
disability.
Don't give us too many clues though. Okay.
Does it affect your joints in your body?
Does it affect the joints in your body?
I nearly clarified that then. In your body, yes.
No.
Okay. I'm going to pass.
Okay, all right, okay.
Maybe that's how we should do it. It's just ask questions to narrow it down.
Yeah, like 20
okay, so have you got a question? Nick's got a hidden disability. What is it? Does it affect the joints in his body? No.
Other question?
Just because you mentioned mental health earlier, and I clearly cannot hold this microphone, so I've got something going on with this microphone.
Can I borrow that?
Yeah, I was going to offer it earlier. Okay.
Yeah.
You're pretty sharp, noticing that my flask is also a good thing for the leaning of the phone. Yeah, that's a good one.
So I'll just update. I'm in the market today. There's an event on, a social event. This is Margot.
Hello.
And I've just asked these people, yeah, they've got as many questions as they want to establish, no, as many as you want, to establish what my hidden disability is. If anyone has a guess, no, he's not interested.
Come and talk.
Hidden disability I have.
Come and get involved in this because we're talking about hidden disabilities at the moment. Nick's got a hidden disability. We're trying to guess what it is. He's already said, "I'm not going to be offended at anything." You can say anything you want. So come and join him. Come and join him because we're sort of talking about hidden disabilities.
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
I'm Bella.
Bella,
Yes.
okay, I'll give you a round of applause.
Italia, Spanish, but Espanol. Okay, so we've established it doesn't affect your joints in your body.
Yeah, okay, we'll put the music back on.
Oh, has there been another question?
No, not
yet.
Yeah. You're the only one that's coming up with any questions, really.
Is the diagnosis primarily connected?
Sorry.
Is the diagnosis primarily connected to your mental health, as in that is comorbidity-wise? Okay.
Okay, that's it. Yeah. That's a yes. We're going to have to pass this around. You got a question?
No.
Give it answer.
No.
Thank you.
So
It sounds also that you are very creative.
Oh, bingo.
That's not a question though, is it?
So my question is it related to ADHD is not disability, but is it okay? Is it ADHD?
Most of my friends think that I'm ADHD.
Is it true?
But okay.
Okay. Okay. Anthony. Yes.
I used to work in mental health.
Yeah.
And I used to sometimes do diagnosis.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take a guess. I'm not going to ask a question, I'm going to take a guess.
Take a guess. Okay. Yeah. It does.
Okay.
I know he's going to get it
Yeah. Yeah.
Asperger's autism, is it somewhere near that spectrum?
It's actually not.
Hang on. Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Okay.
It's actually
Yeah.
not. But
It's not.
I might be on the spectrum. So there's a bit of everything going on with Nick.
Isn't everyone on the spectrum? Or is that just my friends?
I'm just orange spectrum.
Yeah. That's just we're still trying to work this out. What is Nick?
Yes, before I go back.
Yeah.
I've got two guesses.
Okay, come on, Bella. Just grab the mic.
Okay, so I think potentially my first guess is combined diagnosis of anxiety depression. My second would be BPD.
BPD? What is BPD?
Sorry, don't know why I'm doing this.
What is BPD?
I am not.
Bipolar disorder.
Okay, bipolar.
Bipolar disorder.
Okay.
Kind of, yeah.
Challenging.
Okay, so can you tell us a little? Okay, we've done that there. Next, is that it, or is there more? There's more. There's one more. There's one more. Okay, we can hang on.
It gets pretty intense sometimes, so I'll give you that clue. It's the big one.
Psychosis. I nearly
Schizoaffective.
high-fived you then, but you're rolling,
alright,
so I don't want to...
Okay, so well done, Bella. I felt like you had some inside knowledge. Come and get involved in this. We're talking about.
Human in my life.
Yeah, we know how this works.
Yeah.
But you know something, when you said, oh, just ask me what disability I have, but I'm not going to be offended. But I think also it's funny how, I mean, is being disabled like offensive? Like, is it offensive? Do you know what I mean? Like, because I feel like maybe things have changed, but maybe just in certain bubbles. Yeah, grab a seat. Because like, if someone said to me, oh, Margaret, do you have this disability? Like, I would have to think of myself, would I be offended or not offended? The perception of disability is an interesting.
Okay, hang on. So we've got a new face at the table. So we've got Anthony, we've got Margot, we've got Nick. I'm Mikey.
What's your name?
Jordan.
Jordan, welcome. The moment we're talking. You look professional. You've got a lanyard. That's a giveaway.
I look professional. I'm hurt by that comment. You've got to have a sense of humour.
Anyway, so we were talking about hidden disabilities. We were talking about Nick. Did a little. I don't know if you heard that. We did a little. We can do the whole thing all over again. Need to turn it up. Need to ramp it up. We don't want to, annoy Bella and Lisa. Lisa. Yeah. You can come and eat over here. Anyway, but we're talking about. Nick was like, guess my hidden disability, and it turns out to be
bipolar schizoaffective.
Yes. What is it?
What's that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll tell you a little bit about bipolar and psychosis. And also, what you were saying about disabilities and would I be offended if you guessed a disability that I didn't have? I think the whole thing needs reframing. Like, things like, all right, so in my opinion, especially a lot of learning difficulties are purely a symptom of our education system.
Okay.
So my point being, this world is designed for all colours and creeds and types of people, different intelligence, right? No man is cleverer than another man, in my opinion. They're just better at doing different things. So the education system only caters for one type of individual, in my opinion, which means that if you don't fit it, you get diagnosed with a learning disability.
What type of person does the education system favour then? What's that kind of profile?
Conformist. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, okay, but maybe other people can help. Anthony, you've been dying to jump in there.
Yeah, I've worked in mental health.
Yeah.
And I've done some counselling.
Yeah.
I also was a life skills coach. So, what you've been saying is spot on. I've fought this for so long.
Yeah.
If we can't understand a person or we can't get them to conform, we diagnose them.
Right.
And we make the diagnosis a stigma.
Yeah.
It's no longer positive to be called bipolar. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Rather than what's your skill?
Yeah. 100%. Hang on, let's bring Justin in on this because
he's not Jordan. Sorry. We had Justin, but now we've got Jordan. The news just in is that it's Jordan, but we've not brought Jordan in. So Jordan,
how are you going to make it positive? Because I don't see the term bipolar as being negative.
Yeah.
I think it should be like a badge of honour. You know, I'm proud, and why should I be treated differently? So how is?
Yeah.
Problem with the name bipolar. It's yes, because I think some professionals see it as negative. They see somebody, you diagnose them, you move them on, work with them, work on the positive side.
Hang on a sec, Jordan, because we've got a new face to the table. So we've got Jordan, we've got Nick, we've got Margot, we've got Anthony and Mikey. What's your name?
Tricia.
Tricia, at the moment we're talking about, well, it started off with a little game that Nick played, Guess My Hidden Disability, and we can move on. We can play any sort. We can do whatever you want here on Talkaoke. But this is what we're talking about at the moment. We're talking about hidden disabilities. Then we start talking about actually there's different types of people in the world, and like what we tend to do is if people don't conform, we give them a diagnosis. It might be ADHD. It might be bipolar. It might be something else. Go on, give us troublemaker. Yeah, and then that gets a stigma. So, yeah.
So I'm bipolar schizoaffective, which is similar to schizophrenia.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time I just say I'm bipolar schizophrenic because they know what schizophrenic is. And like what you're saying, the reaction to bipolar is completely different to the reaction to schizophrenic.
Yeah.
And not in terms of like interpersonal reaction, but just the reaction to the name. People are like, whoa. Not negative, but they think like, wow.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, go on.
No, it doesn't really show because my sister's bipolar.
Right.
And I just say, oh, you're a nutcase, you joke. But then when I sit and I watch her, I can see little things that's niggling her then.
Yeah.
And she wants to have an argument. And I said, look, there's your bipolar coming out. So I don't really understand what it is, to be honest. Is it an argument form or is it 1 minute you're okay and then you're not? Or like schizophrenia. Yeah, because I just have mental health and anxiety panic attacks.
Right, okay.
Big time, and I hear my heart pounding. It sounds like it's going to come out of my throat, the beating.
And when you say that to other people, what's their reaction? Because that's also one of the things we're talking about. You don't mention it to other people. No.
Except my doctor, but I don't think she understands sometimes because the more you tell it, always another tablet.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, and I don't know what I'm taking them for. I know, it's
okay. That's really interesting. Hang on. So let me just go back to Nick, and then I'll go to Margot.
So you were saying you don't know really what it is, right? So bipolar officially comes in two forms. You got bipolar type 1 and type 2, and basically the difference is one of them you have day-to-day ups and downs, and the other one is you can have months of being down or months of being manic or months of being stable. And if I am bipolar, because again you're being put into boxes that you might not necessarily resonate with.
Would you like to come up with a different definition?
Listen, this is a good point, especially with learning difficulties.
Yeah.
I thought like I come up with a name in my phone to reframe to make them more positive.
Yeah.
Because a lot of learning difficulties is and autism and ADHD is actually a talent.
Yeah.
They're just not fitting into the box that 95% of people are funneled into. They're not designed necessarily for the world that, for some reason, capitalism has created.
Yeah. Is it about capitalism? Hang on.
There's nothing wrong with him, does it? It doesn't look like there's nothing wrong with the gentleman. So how would you actually know that guy has got this? But quite frankly, why should we care? What you know? I know
or do we care? And we've got a new face. We've got a new face. So we've got Nick, we've got Margot. What's your name again?
Trisha.
Trisha, that's right. And Anthony and
Juanette.
Juanette and Mikey. We'll give you a round of applause. At the moment, we're talking about. Well, it's all started with this idea of like a hidden disability, but we're now almost talking about labels that people get. They might, we talk about learning disabilities. We're talking about, bipolar, like diagnoses, I suppose you call it. But Nick's saying, well, maybe this should be reframed into something more positive. And actually, we're blessed to live in a world where people are different. They're not all the same. They don't all think in the same way.
Everybody's different.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Everybody's different.
Yeah.
But
does that mean we should all have a label, I suppose?
If we find that we're different, why don't we just go with it and stop worrying about what other people think? Which goes back to diagnosis.
Yeah.
A diagnosis can be termed positive if you choose to look at it that way. But it's a journey. It's a journey.
Hang on. I'm going to give you the mic and say, but we've got a new face. So we've got Juanette, we've got Anthony, we've got Trisha, we've got Margot, we've got Nick and
Vicky.
Vicky, welcome, and Mikey. And we're talking about I'm not going to do the whole journey because I've just done it, but we're sort of talking about labels, diagnosis. Is it a positive thing? Is it a struggle, a battle to actually turn it into a positive thing?
Well, I'm not sure about stigma because I never experienced any stigma apart from when people. I'm not schizophrenic. I'm schizoaffective.
Yeah.
But if I tell people I'm schizophrenic compared to the reaction I get when I tell them I'm bipolar, they're quite like.
If they hear the word schizo, that's enough. Isn't it? Yeah.
So no, what your point was? So I think they should make new names for the disability. And even including disability, because it's actually a lot of the time, sometimes there are very acute disabilities there, where clearly no matter what the world is designed to do, people will need support. That doesn't mean that they can't live a fulfilling life. But, so for instance, instead of a manic episode, I'd call it maximum fun exposure, MFE. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like ADHD, I'll work on a name for that, but there's so many talents that people with ADHD and autism can bring to the world.
Yeah.
But my mate, sorry, I'm going on one now, but he's diagnosed with ADHD recently, and I had a breakdown because of it.
Yeah.
When he's been flying at his company, he's top salesman, and only because of the diagnosis and him realizing why he'd struggled all that time, he's had a breakdown.
Yeah.
So that's an example of how a diagnosis can change. It can help,
but it can also be negative. Yeah.
Point on it. It's got to fit the person.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you must back away and say I got it wrong.
Okay. All right, we've got a new face at the table. Give us your name.
Joe.
Joe, we've got Juanette, we've got Anthony, we've got Trisha, we've got Margot, we've got Nick, and Debbie. Vicky, sorry, Vicky. Are you off? No. Okay, we want a final thought from you if you do go, and that applies to everybody around the table. Have you got any thoughts on this, Vicky?
Is it what labelling, stigmatised? Is that what we're talking about?
That's what it's sort of talking about. But we can go, the whole point of Talkaoke is we can go any direction you think would be a good direction to go.
All right. Well, obviously, because I've only just got here and you've just been speaking about like labelling or stigmatising.
Yeah.
I think this gentleman here is right. It's whatever language works for that individual. Because if that individual wants to say, like for example, I'm like 1 year clean, somebody else might not want to use that word clean because it might think, well, the opposite to clean's dirty. Some people might, do you know what I mean? Some people might want to say, I'm an addict, and the other person might not want to use that word addict for themselves. They might want to use the word, I'm dependent, I've got dependency. So it's language is what's comfortable with that individual without stigmatising.
He's gone now, but one of the things about Nick is being quite creative about that labelling, you know, like instead of saying manic, it's maximum fun. So is it about people sort of deciding their own labels and just turning it into something that's more creative? Any thoughts on this side?
You've got a system that you want to help, whatever the issue is. The system has to have a baseline, doesn't it? Otherwise, it can't function. It can't help the people who need help unless they've got a baseline,
So
which
they
is
need to have these
why
words.
they have these words.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can do a journey and we can talk
Yeah.
to the system to say maybe the label you've put on me or you doesn't fit, and we can discuss that. But we've got to have a baseline.
So it's a starting point in a
Yes.
way. So maybe you start off with that clinical label, or whatever you want to call it, and then, as Nick did, move from there. We've got a new face over here. What's your name?
Zika.
Was it?
Zika.
Zika.
Yeah, from Croatia.
From Croatia. Oh, okay. I don't know any. It's one language I don't know any Croatian at all, apart from hvala. Isn't that?
Hvala means thank you.
Yes, that's right. Well, I'm not saying that's right. You're telling me that's right. But anyway, we're talking about labelling. We're talking about, and we're talking about mental health actually, and whether those labels actually work for people, or things like learning disabilities as well. Does that label, is it helpful, or are we not seeing the positives of what that person's kind of the way their mind works is? But anyway, yeah, go on.
Endless thoughts.
Final thought. Hang on a sec.
Yeah.
Final thought from Vicky first.
Right, final thought on.
Make it good, exactly.
Well, I've only just got here.
Yeah.
Final thought.
Yeah.
I think everybody has obviously got their own views, but they should be mindful of what they say to other people before, and get to know that person before they do start using maybe a word that's offensive or a bit of language that's offensive. Should be mindful before they start.
Can you give us an example?
Well, for example, when I thought you were waving to me then.
Yeah.
Do that. For example, when sometimes, as in, if I've met you for the first time, right, I could just say, or you, I'm not saying you, any of you, I could just make an opinion up of you straight away, or a vision of you, and I could be totally wrong, and you shouldn't judge people immediately on how they look, or you should get to know them first.
I think we should just take a minute.
I mean, for example, we had Jordan that was wearing a lanyard, and somebody around the table said, "You look very professional," because he's got the t-shirt and the lanyard. You got a lanyard, looking more professional. But Anthony is wearing all day glow orange. Anthony got a bit offended because Anthony is actually a professional as well.
And I'm very shy.
So that's a very good example.
I've got a final thought. I work in schools a lot as well. Do you work in schools? Yeah. And I thought, wow, look at all these professionals in these schools. Look at everyone's a professional. Well, they're all school children wearing lanyards. And they actually wear lanyards, so everybody wears a lanyard, don't they? To get in and out of school. So.
Well, I mean, Will's proudly wearing a lanyard over here. Does the lanyard make you feel more professional?
Yeah.
Thank you, Vicky.
I think Leeds City College is a really good college. I recommend it to everyone. Public services. We've got the best tutors. One of them, Sidra, my favourite. She's the best.
Okay.
Shout out Sidra, she's here
Shout
somewhere.
out Sidra, she's here.
Getting the information. She's getting the information.
Okay, one of the things that I just want to, because you guys are at college, I just want to come back to your point, Anthony, about education. You're saying that education is kind of capitalist, and you were saying this as well, Nick, weren't you? You're both of you together.
For me, I don't know, you guys are at college, so for me, the education system only really caters for a minority of the spectrum of intelligence that's out there. And I don't know if you know anyone who has a disability or learning difficulty, but so in my opinion, and you'll be able to talk on this, it actually, as well as the challenges, there's a lot of positives that aren't tapped into, and it's people who have these disabilities, I think, are the ones who's going to come up with the ideas and processes that's going to help save the planet. That's the aim.
We were talking earlier on that, there's people, for example, ADHD, autism was mentioned, or all kinds of different mental health things. Are those people just having a different input, and is the education system actually respecting or responding to those different types of kind of mental views?
Well, I know my college is very there for everyone, so they help everyone out. Like even if you've got a disability, mental health, they're always there, and they support every child, every student in any way they can possible.
Yeah. Okay, so you're saying yes. Actually, has it changed maybe? Has it changed? What other people think?
I think it changes when you go to college because they treat you more like adults, where high school I struggled quite a lot, and I thought, what's the point of coming to school and stuff? But I turned
so when
up,
you were
but
at school actually it was a different story.
yeah, it was a different story. When I come to college, I enjoyed learning more because they helped me cater for what I actually had wrong with me and stuff, and they've understood me as a person. Unlike at school, they just sort of like brushed me aside because I wasn't one of them smart kids.
So you weren't one of the smart kids, so you just kind of got put to one side.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. So there is still work to be done, obviously, in schools.
A whole lot, but we can't leave it to the schools. We need to give them guidance. Yeah, I've been 20 odd years in school governing at the primary level, and that's where the problems can arise. And if they're not dealt with there, then they follow you right through your life. So we need to start with the primary schools, but don't just leave it to teachers and parents. Everybody has got to get involved and put the pressure on the education department and on the schools lower down.
Okay, we've got a new face at the table. Tell us your name.
My name's Sonia.
Sonia? We have got Will Chish.
Zinka, yeah, from Croatia.
Will, we've got Zinka, we've got Shiv, we've got Cara, and Juanette, Anthony, Trisha, Margot, Nick, and Mikey. At the moment, we're sort of talking about, are the schools fit for purpose when it comes to the diversity of people's minds? We talk about learning disabilities. Is it framing it in a negative way? Talk about all the, mental health issues. Are we actually turning those people on? Like, for example, Will, when he got to college, was suddenly much more stimulated because they actually tapped in to what you enjoyed. Is that right? Is that fair to say? So that's what,
But the rot would have started much earlier. You've got to start earlier.
Yeah, so it's what you're saying, one that it's actually even in primary school.
It's at home to start with, and then the help from the teachers and other
so
people.
The parents have got to be quite positive about their children as well. Yeah.
Parents, because they don't all have parents.
Yeah. So whoever's looking after the young people. Sonia, have you got any views on this, or are you just listening in for now? You've got lanyards. Most people around here have got a whole lanyard section.
I'm unemployed.
You don't have a lanyard. Sorry, you'll get the mic later. Yeah.
So, in fact, I'll ask this lady. What's her name? Sonia. So, for a couple of minutes, I'm going to talk about depression and reframing the general ideas around it. So, if I was to ask you, what is depression? What would you say?
Okay, let me get there. Sonia, what is depression?
It's someone who's feeling low in mood. Life's not worth living. May have suicidal thoughts. Everything's on top of them, and the world's folding up around them. Yeah.
So I've been on about even renaming disabilities because they don't make much sense. As I said, there's a lot of good things that come with them.
So depression, do you think that's the wrong way?
No, so for instance, a manic episode, I call it maximum fun exposure. Yeah. You're just out living like Charlie Sheen was, just out living life.
Living large.
Yeah, me as well this last month. But like depression for me, is actually, I could rename it as deep learning opportunity. Because for me, it means that something in your environment has changed. Me personally, I learn more in a depressive episode than I do when I'm out and about. Not consciously, subconsciously. Your depression is maybe to an extent when your subconscious and your conscious thoughts are out of kilter because something's happened, right?
That's a really interesting point. I want to just spread this out to other people
Yeah.
and get other views on it. What do other people think about this? Is depression actually, should it be reframed as like you're going through something, a learning opportunity?
So it doesn't feel like you're learning, like you feel like you're brain dead in that moment in time. But for me, it's like I'm a sponge and I will absorb information, and then often, sometimes, if I'm not on my medication, it will all come out too quickly and boil over the top. Yeah?
What's that, Trish?
Just like what Nikki said, it's like it does all go in, but when people say this, that and other, it just goes in, and then all of a sudden you forgot everything.
Yeah.
Because you was concentrating on what they were saying, but there was too much information of what was said, or if you or if you read it, or the doctor or anyone tells you, don't ignore it. Try and listen as much as you can. That's more important to you. I know it's all important what they do tell you, but don't ignore any of it. And then when you go, just think, did he say that? Did you? You know, like that. Yeah.
Do you want to come over to this side of the table? Have you got any views on this? We're talking about depression. Have you ever felt down? Have you ever felt any of those things that Nick was talking about? And can you see a positive side from it?
Yeah, I think he's completely right, to be honest. And like everything that you go through, it makes you stronger. If I didn't go through everything I went through, I wouldn't be as strong as I am right now. So I think depression is a real thing. And if you go through something and you just keep going, at the end, you're going to be so much stronger and you're going to be such a better person, and it will be all worth it in the end.
Let's have a round of applause for that. I mean, just from that perspective, we talked about colleges and schools. Are they handling things like depression in the right ways? Are they actually, have they got their heads around that, or is that another thing that they're...
I think at the minute, like, especially in my college, they're really, really supportive in that way. And I didn't think we had that kind of support. Like when I started college, I didn't think there was going to be any support there, but they are really, really supportive, and I think they're getting more supportive like as the days go.
Okay, so they are actually learning from people as well. Okay,
you learn to be quite resilient once you've been through something in crisis and what have you. And with the right interventions, you can come through this and what have you, and the right help. It's knowing where to find that help.
You seem to know a lot about it as well, Sonny. Have you got a kind of angle on this?
As long as the person can get some form of support, that might be medical support, befriending services, someone there who they can feel that they can talk to and help them along the line and point them in the right directions, they'll probably do well and come through the other end, and it'll make them really strong.
You know, going from what Nick said about being in that state, are those people actually able to seek help? Because they are, you know, if they're quiet, they don't feel like even going out.
Probably not at the beginning, but the first protocol for me would be a GP. Because sometimes talking to someone, you'll feel like you've had the weight lifted off your shoulder.
I was very happy, very sociable, dependent, no depression. I never heard of the word anxiety when I was younger, and then last 15-20 years Zoom, and I thought, where's that come from? You know, and I just started going down and down. Then the doctor, when they give me tablets, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel when I've taken them, because they say that you need this, Tricia, you need that, Tricia, you're going to have an injection for this.
Do you trust?
Well, I did lose my husband 5 years ago, but I also lost my first husband 20 years ago. Then I've just lost a lot of people, my sister and my brothers and that, but it was more of my last husband. He was my world, my rock. I know that he even overtook my mother when I lost my mum of the feelings. And the doctor said, go to, is it Cruz and those people, I know the names, but they won't come to me at the moment, Macmillans and that. Yeah. But I'm not saying the doctor was unfair. I mean, she was brilliant, but it was how I was taking it, and I thought, how am I supposed to feel after taking all the or going there?
Yeah.
But I'm going to be honest with you now. I've sat round this table for 15, 20 minutes, and I have taken in so much, and I'm red with embarrassment because I feel as though I've been listened to properly because of the other people that has got problems beyond, you know, and a lot worse than me maybe, you know. But there's something there that wants to come out and just won't. And I keep thinking, well, when it does, it's going to burst. And so is the head.
So there's kind of like a sort of like a blister or something like that. It's going to pop.
It is. I do feel like it's going to be that. Because of the heartbeat. I can hear it sometimes, and it is really loud and hurts me. Of thinking when what is going to happen? Is it going to happen now? Not that I'm going to die, but. What is this feeling?
You feel like something's brooding, ready to come out.
Especially on a night when I'm lied down and everything is going round in the head.
Well, that's amazing. Go on.
I just want to say, there's a lot of positivity around the table, but I think we need, on top of positivity, we need the system officially to pump some money into it. Too much is being relied on at ground level, at relatives and friends, etc. And we need government to put more money into professional care.
And what would that look like? What kind of things would you like to see out there?
Well, instead of you grabbing us off the street today, people would have somewhere to go, like Alcoholics Anonymous, etc. You know, they would have more places to go to let out some of, you know, what's going on. And they would have professionals sitting there listening, not just relatives and friends, you know.
Okay, that's a really good point.
Again, with government, the money comes into it.
Hang on a sec, Tricia, I just want to...
When you sometimes go to the GP, not just for medication for depressions, they now have interventions where they have community groups, and so you meet new people and integrate with other people. So it prevents you getting hooked on certain medication.
Okay, so there are other ways. It's not just about pills. Was there a final? I feel like you two are shaping up to leave. Let me get final thoughts. Anyone that's going.
You go to that lad first.
All right. Okay.
I had a couple of points, just so I remember. One of them is about mental health in schools, and to address your point about the funding. The whole world, in my opinion, is suffering a mental health pandemic. You know, and this might have stemmed from a lot of things. I don't know if you've heard of intergenerational trauma, but all of us, wherever we're from, we've all experienced hardship, loss in our generations, famine, wars, world wars. And intergenerational trauma is the idea that it epigenetically alters our genes to basically to avoid doing it again. But we're still it's almost like we're all in post-traumatic stress in a way. So
it's almost like the whole society.
So my point being, before we can address issues like in the environment, like anything in life, you have to get your head right first. And as a society, I think it's about collectivization, and I think the funding for me would go into awareness. And early intervention, really, which brings me on to the school thing, but I'll come back.
I'll come back. Let's get some final thoughts there. Really good points there. Really good point. Let's just get some final thoughts.
I just think that, like, mental health and stuff, learning about other people's backgrounds and stuff. I know something like, as in coming from college, it's allowed me to speak to other people that have come from, like, my friend has come from Afghanistan, and he talks about his background, and we compare. And knowing, like, allowing people's backgrounds, understanding people's backgrounds helps people understand, and not, like when we came earlier, not judging people, allowing people. But there's not enough, especially like where as young people are meant to find other people, but we can start as young people, like making aware of people and try to change that, and try to make sure that like we're allowing people to not judge and allow people to be who they are and who they want to be.
That's a really good point. Well, thanks for that.
Yeah, I think he's right. I've really got to go, but it's really nice meeting everyone. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Have a nice day.
Okay, where are we going to go from here?
Follow me, Adventures of Nick. I do a mental health channel on TikTok, all of it. Adventures of Nick.
Adventures of Nick.
Because my head won't get round it.
So you're not on computer, but if you do get one, Adventures of, just type in Adventures of Nick.
I'd like to mention something about the mental health system.
Yeah.
About 15 years ago, I volunteered for Leeds Mind.
Yeah.
It was based in Horsforth.
Yeah.
And we had a bit of a pandemic. There were so many people being referred, and we couldn't cater for them.
Yeah.
Going back to funding, and also, which is more my point, staff. I'm going to say something a little bit controversial, but it's well-meaning. People need to understand mental health, i.e., if you suffer mental health yourself, understand it before you ever work with somebody else. I have a big problem with a lot of people going to education, getting a piece of paper and thinking they can talk about mental health. I'll send it over to anybody else.
Okay. That's a very big. That's a big point.
Intellectuals.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But don't you think that people who go into like psychology and mental health are people who have had those problems and they're trying to find a solution for themselves and they may just get a degree out of it? I know people who went into psychology, psychiatry. They may not have, exactly. I don't know how good professionals then they are, if they have got some stuff that they haven't worked through themselves, but I have certainly known people who have gone into psychology, but they had so much they haven't addressed themselves.
Okay. Yeah, okay, so they need to address it themselves, and I come to one and then Nick.
If you go back to what Nick was saying, the whole world is carrying some form of untreated mental health issue. So you won't find the perfect person.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think of, just while you got the mic on it, what do you think about this idea that Nick brought in about the collective trauma that we somehow, because we've been through so much and there's wars, all kinds of violence, genocide. Are we all is our whole society traumatized in a way? I think that's what. No. You say no?
No.
We need some positivity.
No, our whole society is not traumatized. But I do believe 98% of the population is. There is a 2% who will keep their head above the water. I know where I come from. I've been traumatized, but we can get ourselves out of it. You've got to know how to deal with trauma.
I think that's a really good point. Okay.
Yeah, trauma is a very loaded word, isn't it? It's stressing me out even saying the word, you know what I mean?
What else coming?
So we're going to come up with a new name. Trauma, though, I don't think you can really positively frame it until you've come out of it. No. Trauma is trauma. But anyway, my point was, what were you saying before?
You're talking about psychology.
Yeah. So everyone who becomes a psychologist or at least psychologist has to undergo therapy themselves. They do. That's current. But then the people who are working in like your area sector, where you don't need you need some piece of paper, yeah. I don't know, I'll play devil's advocate a bit, and I'd argue that people who go into these kind of social causes, whether homelessness, alcoholism, mental health, they've only got good intentions, right? Yeah. And whether or not I'm not sure, you know, I've had a lot of support workers and stuff, and not all of them will have had mental health problems, but I think, I don't know.
Are they better?
I don't know.
Okay, that's a good question. Come and have a seat on the table of chat. We are talking about What are we talking about? Mental health? Are we dealing it as a society? Is there a pandemic?
State of how good our mental health workers are to deal with people with mental health. The two should dovetail. If you don't get on with your mental health worker, you should seek another one.
Okay.
I don't care how good you think you are.
Okay. All right, give us a final thought before you go, Tricia. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Hang on, give us a final thought before you go.
Thank you, everybody.
Have you got anything particularly you're taking away from that you've heard?
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Do we believe that? I feel like we're kind of coming to a natural sort of like ebb and flow. Yeah.
This is something we've got to keep plugging away at. Yeah. We put some care and love in it. It might not start off perfectly. You might get things wrong, but that's no reason to step back.
Okay, so just really keep going with this and really.
But you know what, you were talking about language, and I do agree that sometimes it's good to kind of change the language. And also somebody who was sitting here, she was saying, sometimes people say like, oh, I've been 1 year clean, or what's the opposite of clean? It's dirty. So it just implies that kind of opposite meaning. But I also noticed that people just use the word trauma willy-nilly. It's like, oh yeah, just had a traumatic morning. What happened? Oh, I didn't catch my bus. And you're thinking like, have we just got so really sloppy with our language? It's just like, oh, I'm just normalizing trauma so much, I'm just going to call trauma is everything. It's not everything. It's a specific thing. But is it because we're trying to be inclusive? Oh, it's just stupid. Like why? It's not trauma. If you missed your bus, it's not a trauma.
Well, here we go.
Well, I don't know, maybe people...
Oh, I'll pass it. Yeah. For me, well, if you're saying definition, it just popped into my head. Trauma is anything that affects you adversely, in my opinion. Yeah. Some people are traumatized by the sounds of balloons popping. Some people are traumatized by things you might more often associate with trauma. Like, so phobias, when you're scared of stuff, that might be because of a trauma. But exactly, when you talk about more serious things like sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, that's what people normally associate with trauma. So me personally, I never thought I had trauma because I associate it with real heavy stuff. But it turns out that, do you know what I mean? So yeah, I'll leave it there. I'll probably have to go catch my train anyway. Okay. So my final... Oh, I live in Armley, just up the road. Yeah. I'm going to London. Arsenal, Tottenham. Woo! Are you? So I was just going to say my final thoughts. Big ups to everyone who's joined the table today. Thank you, Mike, for hosting. It's been a pleasure. Follow Adventures of Nick on YouTube for mental health chat. Nice one. So yeah, peace. Have a good day.
Hang on, you need to get the obligatory. This is the world we live in. Toxic social media. There we go. We're doing it. Yeah, there we go. Luckily we've got a new face at the table. Yes, we are. Yes, I hope that's all right with you. But here, take this card, and you will find it here when Rick gets around to uploading it. What's your name?
Shanna.
Was it?
Shanna.
Shanna. We got Juanette. We have got Anthony. We've got Margot. We've got Nick. Come and join in. Come and have a seat. My name's Mikey with the microphone. At the moment, one of the things we're talking about is mental health. Are we actually dealing with that as a community in the right way? Is there too much stigma? Was one of the things we're talking about. But we can talk about. We can take it in any direction you want to take it. Jana, I don't know if you got any. Shanna. Sorry, what was it again?
Shanna.
Shanna, sorry, not Jana. Shanna, have you got any views on this, or have you been listening in, or you just arrived?
I've just arrived.
So I'm not going to, we'll warm you up a little bit first. Where do we want to take this conversation? Yep.
I've got a question for the people around the table.
For the panel.
It's still dealing with mental health.
Yep.
Just observationally, nothing more. How do you think our country or this country is doing mental health wise? It's a big topic, but let's try and go with it.
Okay, we're gonna.
You know what? I've got my observation. See you later, Nick. Take care. My observation is, I think there's a lot of money being, I mean, probably not enough, but there's a lot of, talk about mental health, a lot of investment. It's like we're having this conversation now. People are much more open about it. So I would say the country is doing really well. For instance, in Poland, where I'm from, I think that hasn't always been the case. I think we can get better at all these conversations. Doesn't mean, but I think mental health is much more kind of pushed to the corner. So it doesn't show so much. Like my mum's got a long history of mental health, but when I now realize how she's been treated or mistreated, it's just like, it just kills me, just to think about it. I'd just rather not think about it. So I would say probably Poland thinks they're doing really well, but they're not. But it's just here people talk about it, but I think the problems are really,
Okay, so better than Poland is the answer.
Better than Poland.
Better than Poland. Okay.
Yes.
How are people doing mental health? I'm gonna ask you as well, Anthony, because you answered. What do you think?
Well, I think I said it earlier about the funding and the professionalism and the training, etc., all coming together, and society as a whole, not letting go of the sort of hang-ups they have about mental unhealthiness, because that's really what it is. Good mental health is great. So I think we need that wraparound. We need a wraparound care where everybody, holistic care, that's what we need. And there, as you say, there is funding going in, but I guess just like the prison system, it's become an industry, and the people that it's supposed to serve are getting lost in it.
Yeah, so they're lost in the system. We've got a couple of new faces over here. So we've got Margot, we've got Anthony, we've got Juanette, we've got Shanna and Mikey. What's your name?
Rob.
And back again.
Nina.
Nina. And when we're talking about mental health, I mean, I'm just going to recap, because we sort of started off, we had a guy called Nick who's a pianist, and he said, can you guess my hidden disability? It turned out to be, we did the this music, and then finally we got it. It was bipolar, but that led to a whole discussion about, have we really got these kind of things? We're seeing them too much as a disability or a label. Should we be treating it in a different way? And then we sort of started talking about how mental health provision actually works in this country. And Anthony has just asked this question, are we actually doing well about it? Margot said, well, I'm from Poland, and actually much better than in Poland.
So can I just...
Juanette said it should be more... Hang on, because people haven't answered your question yet.
I'm going to frame it.
Okay, a bit more context.
I questioned, how do you think this country is doing in a mental health way? Do you think we're going backwards? Do you think we're where we need to be? Or do you think we're positive? That's it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to come and ask you in a minute as well, but Shanna, have you got any views on this?
I think Britain's doing really well with mental health. We've got a lot of organisations, support available. It's mainly up to the individual if they're actually accessing and engaging with support.
Okay, so they're actually starting to really engage with the individual, you think? And so you think we're getting better?
I do think so.
Okay, all right. Welcome to Talkaoke. We've got Shanna, we've got Juanette, we've got Anthony, we've got Margot, we have got Nina, and... Sorry, I forgot your name.
Rob.
Was it?
Rob.
Rob, and what's your name?
Lucy.
And I'm Mikey. At the moment we're talking about... I'm not going to do that. I've just done a whole thing for Rob, so I'm not going to do the whole thing again, but we're just at the moment asking, are we doing well when it comes to mental health? Some people are saying yes. Margot's saying yes, a lot better than Poland. Shanna's saying yes, we're starting to really engage with the individual. Juanette's, we need to be more holistic. So that's what we're going around the table on that one. I'm going to come. Rob, have you got any views on this? I'll come to you in a minute, Susie, but you don't have to say anything if you don't want to.
I think...
Lucy. Sorry.
I think it's the same as lots of provision in this country, that it's completely underfunded.
Yeah.
I think political stances change on a 2 to 3 yearly basis.
Yeah.
I know that mental health provision, addiction provision, all that sort of provision was given quite a boost, and I'm not a big fan of Boris Johnson, by the way, but it was given a boost while Boris Johnson was there, and we were going to do this social care provision and the social care tax, and now the new person's come in and they've said actually what we're going to do now is take 1 pence off the basic rate of tax and 5 pence off the tax of multimillionaires, which was sort of the provision. So at what point do we actually get to that money actually coming in?
Yeah.
I'm quite concerned because I work in social care that within the next year or so they're going to turn around and say, do you know that social care levy that we were going to put on, we can't afford it at the minute, so we're now going to cancel that for the vulnerable people in society because we've given bankers bonuses, we've given rich people 5% off their tax, 5 pence off the tax.
So are you not agreeing, Rob, that this is stimulating the economy, which is going to lead to
for me, the people who needed the pay increase, the people who needed the extra money have been given a very tokenistic offer. And the wealthy people have been given 5 pence off their taxes. And also interest rates are going up. So then wealthy people have also got money in the bank. So they're winning on both fronts, to be fair. And it will come from the people that need mental health. It'll come from the people that need addiction, you know, sexual. It'll all come from the lower downgrades. It's as simple as that. That's how it always works.
All right. Okay. Welcome to Talkaoke. This is a pop-up talk show. We talk about absolutely anything, but right now we're talking about mental health. I'm not going to do the whole big journey. I will do it if you hang on in long enough. I'll do a recap. But right now, Anthony's just asked the question: are we doing well when it comes to mental health as a country? Are we getting better? Shanna was sitting there, but she slipped away without me noticing, because I want people, if you do go, give us a final thought. I'm going to go to you, Nina, and then Lucy, I'm going to come to you if you've got a view. And what's your name?
Maisie.
Maisie. So, yeah.
To answer the question, I think that mental health support has got better. If you think about maybe 50 years ago when it was really shunned, there was a lot of stigma. However, I am a true believer that everybody in their life suffers with mental health at some time, which means it should be more accessible for everyone at every age, but it's not. It's hard to get into the services, it's long waiting times, it's difficult to refer yourself, the GP to refer you as well. I think that could all be improved.
So it's about accessing the services.
Yeah, I think it could definitely improve access.
Okay. All right. Any views on this?
Views.
Yeah. You've got views.
Of course I have views, otherwise I wouldn't be here. I suppose my main issue is the stigma around mental health. Things like suicide. We don't really know how to talk about it, and we don't know what to do about it.
You should have actually been here earlier, because we were talking about some of these things earlier on, but we can go back around for sure. So you think the stigma is still the biggest problem rather than the access to...
Well, no, access is a massive issue, but I think because of the stigma, then access becomes difficult because people don't even want to admit that they have a mental health issue in the first place. And so I can talk about it with my friends, but I also know that I'm in a privileged position to do so.
That's a really good point. Maisie, have you got any views on this?
Well, I don't really like talking about mental health and that because I struggle with it, and that's why I go to this naughty school. But I got kicked out of my old school because of my mental health for getting proper bad and stuff, and then my old school couldn't help me whatsoever. So
okay, so
and they had no
there was no support. They didn't have the tools, let's say, to deal with it. They thought. This is interesting. We're also talking about...
So just in relation to that, often bad behaviour from a child, it's not bad behaviour, they're calling out for something else, and so you get put into this bad school because you're seen as bad, but you just need a bit more help. And it's not appreciated or understood. The teacher's going to see you and the teacher's going to say, you're bad, stop being bad. They're not going to try and get to the root of it or try and actually speak to you like you're a human being. You're just bad, and that's not okay.
I mean, we were also, you should have been here for that bit as well. We were talking about that, and Anthony, you're my witness on this. But
witness?
Yes, you were saying it. You raised the question a long time, many. But before we go through all of that, what's your view on this country and mental health? Is it about the stigma? Is it about access? Is it about being holistic? Is it about actually, are we stigmatising people like Maisie and saying just because we can't handle them in school, we're going to send them to another school?
First of all, I don't think we're doing enough as a country to deal with mental health. I'm sorry. we're still a country that likes to sweep things under the carpet. It doesn't exist. Don't talk about it. It'll go away. Be strong, and we'll get through it. That's what causes mental health.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. I'll throw it over to somebody.
Okay, well that's nice and concise. I like that as well. Yeah.
I mean, I'm interested in this thing about schools not supporting young people in, you know, on their journey, because I think creativity is just such a brilliant way of doing it, and I think there's some kind of, I don't know, there's this obsession in schools of being professional. I know we were like talking about lanyards earlier, but I really don't like lanyards. I think they just kind of, you know, I understand that they are important and stuff, but I think sometimes there's like too much emphasis on like coming across really professional, but really.
Well, what does that mean?
Yeah, exactly. What does it mean? Because we were talking about people conforming to the system before. It's like, you know, if you conform well, then you'll get a safe kind of career trajectory. Is going to be like this, then you're going to be manager of that. And then I'm not saying that if you're a manager, then that's bad. I think it's really good because somebody needs to organize stuff. But I just think there should be diversity of like mindsets about, you know, and we were talking about open-mindedness before with earlier on. And I think sometimes people think they are open-minded, but they're not. Maybe I'm not being open-minded now, but I really don't like lanyards.
Okay, well we've got someone here with a lanyard on. We don't have to discuss your lanyard. But we have got Margot, we've got Anthony, we've got Juanette, we've got Maisie, we've got Lucy, we've got Rob. What's your name?
Adam.
Adam, and I'm Mikey. You're coming from the cold there, so you're hiding your lanyard. You don't have to sort of come in straight away, but we're basically, Anthony asked the question, as a country, as a society, have we got mental health down? There's been a lot of comments. Some people have said, yeah, progress is being made. We're talking about it more. Other people like Lucy have said still the stigma is there, and that's preventing people from even starting that process of actually investigating their mental health. But also the services, the access to money, these are some things we're talking about. Maisie, you got moved into a different school, didn't you, because of your mental health? How do you feel about that? Can I just ask you that?
I actually feel a lot more better because like I'm getting a lot more help from the school
so
that I'm in now.
Good, it's a good thing.
Just on the back of that, the concerning thing though, and I'm glad you're a different school that's giving you much more help, but it's the labels that people have given you to put on that school as the naughty school, and it was because of your bad behaviour. And that's come from adults basically that have told you this, who should be more responsible and should be more caring. You know, you've gone to a school that fits your needs. It's not a naughty school, it's a school that was actually built and developed to fit your needs. Just because the system or the mainstream schooling doesn't have that facility, that's the school's fault, Macy, not yours.
Okay, you're getting
and I think that's a big thing. And you know, I know other kids in Leeds will probably call it the naughty school and that sort of thing, but you don't need to hold that. Yeah, what you need to hold is that you're at a place where you can flourish and progress that will help you. Okay, so I found it heartbreaking when you said I've been moved to the naughty school, because I just think that for you to hold that is, you know, your age, what, 12, 13, 14 maybe, 13. To hold that must be, you know, people shouldn't be giving that opinion that that's where you're at. Okay, you're at a place where you can flourish. You mentioned about managers, and managers should be more diverse. And you know about the lanyards being a bit of, you know, I went through the care system, I went through the naughty school system, and then went through residential rehab after a drug addiction, and now manage an addiction service. So people can progress with the right support, but also if you stop holding on to other people's labels.
I mean, going to your experience, Rob, did you feel that kind of, when you were in the naughty school, coming out of care, did you feel that kind of hanging heavy on you?
I lived on every label I was given. You know, I left care and went to children's homes and went to foster parents in a small village, and I was me and my brother were the kids that had came from the kids' home, you know, so I lived that label in the village. I then went to school and was dyslexic, which wasn't diagnosed until I went to university, and I was the disruptive one at the back of the class, so just ignore Robbie's the disruptive one, he always plays up, he's not worth anything. I then left school after being told I would amount to nothing, fell into addiction, and basically lived the victim status that everybody put on me.
Right.
It was when I actually started to think to myself, at the age of 21, 22, actually I'm not carrying their shit anymore. I can be what I want to be. I've just got to turn myself around and turn them thoughts around, that I'm not a bad person, and that they let me down. I didn't let them down. I was too young to let somebody else down. They let me down. They were the adults in this. And now I'm the adult. I can take responsibility and not live in their victim status. And I'm going to be a survivor, and then I can turn around in 10 years' time and go to them, look how well Rob's doing, that naughty kid who was the one from the kids' home and the bad, I just wanted to, almost the drive to stick it in somebody's face, was enough for me to think, I'm not sitting where you're putting me, I'm going to go where I want to go, and I'll, take the knocks and I'll take the digs, but eventually somebody will believe in me, and that's what you find, that eventually some people believe in you. I believe you'll do really well.
Okay, yes.
Journey. There'll be loads of those people on your journey who do believe in you. So you need to believe in you and keep the faith.
Okay, we've got a couple of new faces, so let's just get names. What's your name?
Connor.
Mark. We have got Adam, we've got Rob, we've got Lucy, we've got Maisie, we've got Juanette, Anthony, Margot and Mikey. At the moment we're sort of talking about we're kind of focusing on this idea of labelling, especially with young people. Is that actually negative? Is it holding people back? Is it actually, in a way, people, as you were saying, Rob, you were kind of performing the label that people were giving you, and that, you had to overcome that yourself. And do other people feel like that? Do other people have experience of that?
Stepping out of our comfort zones. And so
What does that mean though, stepping out? How would you step out of a comfort zone for you?
I suppose there are just a lot of labels now around mental health, and so I am this or I am that. And for growth, I feel we have to push our edges and put ourselves in places we're not necessarily going to feel comfortable. But I have concerns for the younger generation. Just sticking to I am this, and they're our future, and so we need to be supporting them.
It's trapped within an identity rather than growing that identity. We've got a couple of faces back. It is, let me just get this right, Lydia and Narjas. Lucy's, that's the final thought I take from Lucy. She's not going to give us any more. So where do we want to go with this conversation? Do we want to talk about this idea that Lucy's thrown in about this labelling and being trapped by a label?
I mean, the big thing we've got with labelling nowadays is, especially in teens, you see a lot of labelling and a lot of people put into boxes, and this is what they're I lived in New Zealand for a little while, another thing that I did which people said I couldn't do. And there was a personality disorder questionnaire that I was passed that they used on children, and most of the questions were sort of things that 14 and 15-year-olds would do. So, does this person sleep in till 2 o'clock in the afternoon? Does this people seem disinterested in, and you think, well, this has been a teenager, and this is, hormonal change, and this is, going through lots of changes in our lives. This isn't somebody to give a label to that they're going to then live with for the next 20, 30 years. Let somebody just develop. Yes, as I said, the labels are needed for certain things, and there are certain diagnoses that need, support and that sort of thing. But to some degree, also let our children grow and let them develop, because, sometimes it's just periods they're going through,
Okay, is that a point, or were you just pointing to someone there, Mark? Mark, have you got? I'm going to come to you in a second. Let's bring Mark.
So a couple of things I've got to say. Carers are not easy to run, and it's not easy to do, and I think Liberals should give more support to the carers. I was like a standing carer for my dad and my mum, and I was doing both at the same time from 1991 till 2000 to 2002, and it's not easy when I had about.
So you're saying carers are not really supported, is that what you're saying?
No, I think they are supporting people, but the Liberals are saying it's a easy job. It's not an easy job. When I had a lot of breakdowns over it, and all I was getting is two minutes sleep every time when they were dealing with my dad and my mum, and I think schools should stop saying it's a easy job, and it's not an easy job. I had 10 breakdowns. what they call it, when you lose your mind for a while, and you got to take things like your parents keeps getting about your names and all that lot. I was getting called idiot. I ain't gonna say the other words when you can't, but it's not nice, and you got to cope with it, and you can't lose your temper to them and things like that. And these carers have been doing it a long time, and they're getting a bad name from Liberals and the other team, the Green team. And
okay. I mean, I would want to investigate who are giving these people a bad name. Can the other people add to that? Do they agree with this point? Are we, let's spread this out and link it, I suppose, with with the question of mental health. Are we caring enough as a society?
But I also want to pick on something that you said, which is about caring for your parents. And I think that's something that I've never thought about until I got to a certain age, and there was illness in my family. But that's really, really hard work. But also when you're a child, or when you when you're a young adult and your parents fall ill, you don't really have a choice. You just have to do it. And like, for instance, giving your parents to institutions, like, oh yeah, well, what a bad child you are, whatever. But I do wonder whether people think about it. Like what people's experiences are of caring for their parents, because that's really hard work.
Come and join in. This is Talkaoke. It's a pop-up talk show right now.
Too, but I have to get back to work.
2 minutes. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. We've got. Sure. But let me just introduce this. We've got Margot, we've got Rob, we've got Adam, we've got Mark, we've got Narjas, we've got Lydia, we've got Anthony and Juanette.
I've got to go.
Just because I've been doing this. Are we going to get a final thought from Rob, and then we're going to add to Mark?
If you guys drop in again, I'll definitely join again.
Next year. This time next year we'll be here. This time next year. Go on. Last Friday of September.
Final thoughts, just let's just look after each other, because the people who are meant to look after us won't.
Okay. Okay, so let's just look after each other. Adam, you've not said much, but I'm going to come to Mark because I know you want to say.
And all it is, then we're just caring. Don't be scared when you're doing it. It's not an easy job, and then till I was 17 when I started doing it, and I'm age 50 now.
Wow, that's a long stint, isn't it? Adam, have you got any thoughts on any of the subjects we've talked about so far?
Yeah, I'm just taking it all in, really.
Thank you, Mark.
I work with a lot of carers in my current job, and it is a stressful job. I think in terms of there was another question you asked. I can't remember what it was.
Well,
it was,
way back. I'll just rewind.
Maybe rewind.
We were talking about is the state of mental health in this country. Are we actually what's our report card like?
I think my main input on that is I think there was a big push around mental health and talking about mental health and getting people to recognise their mental health and take stock of their mental health, but there's no provision for what people need to then do with that information. So you're constantly thinking, how's my mental health? How am I feeling? Am I feeling good? Am I feeling bad? Okay, so you realise you're feeling bad. What do you do with it? You go and put yourself on a waiting list for 9 months, or you go to your doctor and you start a medication. There's exactly, and the low level mental health that you can sort of, I feel a bit low today. You need to be able to be really self-aware of your feelings to be able to deal with that. But then the more sort of acute mental health problems, there's no provision for people who need counselling or support or, because we've cut all them services over the years. So it's all well and good talking about mental health, getting people to recognise the mental health, but what do you then do with that?
So we're much more aware, but then we've got no way of dealing with it because all the services have been cut.
No.
Okay, I'm going to come to you in a second, Lydia. Let's just get this person's name. We have got Narjas, we've got Lydia, we've got Anthony, we've got Juanette, we've got Margot. Adam, what's your name?
Abdullah.
Was it?
Abdullah.
This is Talkaoke Freeform Talk Show. At the moment we're talking about mental health. Are we doing well with it? Lydia?
Yeah, the thing with waiting lists, I just think that it's really bad, and that there should be more support for young people. So last April I got put on the waiting list, and I'm not going to get seen till next August. And then
So it's more than a year. It's a year and 4 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
But then, in the meantime, they put me on tablets. But then they put me on them, prescribed me on them, and didn't tell me what they were for.
Yeah.
Wouldn't let me see them face to face. Didn't
Yeah.
and then just put me on them and left me on them, without doing my bloods,
Right.
blood tests. I just think that there should be more support, especially in high schools as well.
So it's a kind of very remote
Yeah.
kind of medication where you've not even
Yeah.
seen the face of the person doing
Yeah.
the prescription. So what is it? A phone call or
Just
Zoom call?
over the phone,
Yeah.
not even Zoom or anything.
Okay.
So,
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that is backing up your point quite well. You're waiting. Let me do the maths here. 16 months to get any sort of services, and it's also something that someone earlier on said. Tricia, she was saying she got put on some tablets. She didn't know what they're for and how she was supposed to feel, which was kind of an interesting point. I'm going to go to one next because you've not said anything for a while. But
that's fine.
I just wanted to say the one positive thing about talking about mental health all the time is that what you've just shared there to a table full of strangers. It's so much better now that people can talk about these things, which is the opposite to what I just said. It is good that people can talk to each other about it, and that is one positive. You just need more support from the systems that provide the support. Then after that,
I think this is more empowering than sometimes going to the system. Being able to talk to people around and about, you'll get more truth out of them. One, we're not professionals, or at least not anymore. And you've got a chance to be honest and not be judged so much.
Let me just get a thought from you, Abdul. Have you got any views on this?
What about what?
About mental health. Do you think we are dealing well with mental health?
To be honest, I would say that unfortunately the system in this country, the government doesn't do much, unfortunately. Whether it be what you call those I don't want to say the names, but anyways, the thing is that schools can provide much mental health support. I mean, there are children, there is drug problem in this country. Do you address that thing? Drug problem is there. Single mothers are there who have children. So, I mean, the thing is that in schools you can, to be honest,
schools might be a place that you can try and fix some of these things.
They should provide counseling services. Why cannot they? I can guarantee you, if the government government has the money, if they want, they can put in money, they can arrange a counselor, they can arrange many meetings so that the children who are the future of this country, they can get better mental health support at workplace. To be honest, racism, discrimination, bullying, this is alive and well in this country. So in order to combat that, I would suggest that in schools there should be a counselor at least yearly. I mean, if they can provide a counselor for every public school. Definitely.
So, I mean, that's a really good point, Abdullah, and also in the workplace as well. I think you just mentioned that briefly. Could we have more kind of counselling in the workplace? Should we actually have places where people can go, talk to people? So that's another really, really good point. So thank you for that, Abdullah. Thank you.
Thanks, Abdullah. I know I have gone there earlier and I've been a bit negative, but I think I'm on the rise now, having thought about this. We are getting better, but the betterness is quite sporadic. There are schools that have the money to bring in counselling, like my school does, but it's not government money that's done it. It's my head going out there and earning money. Earning money for the school and then building. No, we don't wait for grants. We apply for it, but we don't wait on it. He goes out and he earns money because he trains other leaders. And the money comes into the school and he then buys in the support services that he needs.
Okay, so really taking the initiative of taking the school and dealing with some of these issues.
But there are schools who are in deficit. They can't afford that.
Okay, so where are we going to go with this conversation? I kind of feel like it might be time to just have a little break because we've really gone for it. Maybe we can talk to the Fox guy over there. Oh no, not that one. Hang on, where is it? Hang on. I've lost it. Oh yeah. We want to know what the fox says. It's not often I get to use that one, you know, and I really messed that one up actually. I messed that up badly.
With the mic? Yeah. No, I don't want to be on the mic. Yeah. Where did you get one of those?
I made it. But this is a MIDI. This is a MIDI pad. This is
you've had in years. What about making me one of those?
Send me an email. I'll tell you how to do one yourself.
Honestly, send me an email. No, but neither am I. It's not that hard.
This has been a very positive way for me to spend an hour or two in my day, and I'm really glad for the opportunity. I have to travel back to London, which is where I live.
Yeah. Where do you live in London?
Streatham, South London.
Streatham. We got Margot from Peckham.
Oh wow! Yes, neighbours. Yeah. So thank you very much. Yeah. And if I can get your contact, I'll be on your show. Not necessarily as a guest, but listening in.
Well, you're welcome to come. We don't often come to Streatham because we're more East London based.
But we are based in London, in Leeds for one day only. Let's get...
Yeah. So I'm preparing a mail out this week, so I can drop you a line.
Let's get some other final thoughts.
Yeah.
Society really impacts on mental health as well.
Yeah.
Like, whenever someone's like walking, they'll judge you by what you're wearing, how you're walking, how you're going, and it really impacts because they don't know what's going on through people's lives.
Is there any way to change that? Is that just how things are?
That's just how society is right now.
Yeah.
And loads of people do it.
Okay, so we live in a judgment.
We touched on this a few times today. We live in a judgmental society.
Any final thoughts? Final thoughts, Adam?
No, I just think this is a really good thing. I think we should have come over a bit earlier. I think it's really good to speak to people that you would normally, pass in the street, or people that you wouldn't normally speak to. I think being young is really difficult at the moment, and like you're saying, judgmental and stuff. You're constantly being bombarded on social media with what you should look like, what you should be like, what you should aspire to, and just be yourself and do the things that you enjoy doing, and don't try not to take on other people's opinions and stuff, because ultimately they don't matter. Just do your own thing, do the things you enjoy doing.
Okay, great. Final thought.
I don't know.
Okay, I'll come back to you. Let's get final thought from Anthony.
My final thought.
Yeah. I mean, we are going to do another session where we're going to throw Margot in the middle.
All right.
In about 10 or 15 minutes, probably. We'll have a little break. Yeah, we'll have a little snack.
I think we need to talk about these issues more, not be so scared.
Yeah.
And I feel, and I will always feel.
Tell us about the fear, because you're talking about scared. I feel like there is a bit of fear. Okay, let's just get to the final. Give us something as a final thought. What's the best comment that someone's made, or the best thing?
Like, if you see someone in a worse in need than you, and you can afford to help them, or even just sit with them, just go, sit with them, help them, ask them about their day, just anything like that.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
And
I think that's really important as well, that we can all help here. So great final thought. So
don't feel you've got to stay if you need to rush off. You have for Anthony's final thought.
It's going on.
I'll be listening.
Yeah, as I said, I do believe strangers sometimes make the best friends. Sometimes you can get too close to somebody and they feel obliged to counsel you when you actually don't need counselling. You just need to talk.
Okay, that's a really good point.
Final thoughts?
Yeah, do you want a final thought? Come on, Bella.
The world is a really difficult place to live in at the moment, and I think if we just push ourselves a little bit further and talk to people we usually wouldn't, and be a bit kinder to people. It's not stupid to be kind and to be nice. If anything, you are changing people's lives, and you can save someone's life just by saying, "Hiya, how you doing? Are you alright? Do you fancy a brew?" So life's too short. Life's too short to walk around trying to pretend to be different things, and just be nice to each other. If we were all a little bit kinder, the world would be incredible.
That's a good. We're going to leave it there, I think, for now. But we will be back for another session. But thank you, Bella, for that. It's a great way to wrap this up. And I'm going to take that again, repeat it. It's not stupid to be kind.
Remembering everyone's names.